Oh, dear God, I am probably going to get in so much trouble for this. Hey kids, it's Papa with Paranormal Papa Investigations. Welcome back to another episode of Paranormal 101. Today, we're going to take a look into a part of the paranormal that I'm always talking about, I'm always promoting, and frankly, it means a lot to me. And that's why I wanted to include it in this series. I'm talking about para-unity. I'm talking about the entire paranormal community. The investigators, the believers, the non-believers, the skeptics, the debunkers, all coming together because whether you want to admit it or not, we need those debunkers and those skeptics to keep things on the up and up. Now, granted, a lot of times investigators get really off at these debunkers and these skeptics and these critics for looking at their investigations. And frankly, I couldn't think of two guys that I would much rather look at to cover this than, of course, Beardo and the side-eye guy. These guys have got a lot of flack. People have flung bull at them constantly, even to the point of threatening lawsuits and copyright strikes and the threat of cancellation. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. I welcome anyone to look at my investigations, and I'll gladly sit there with my chest puffed out. And if they find questionable stuff, I find questionable stuff. I find things in a lot of my investigation videos that I didn't know was there. Or, God, that looks great, but at the same time, to somebody who's not experienced it, doesn't seem right. Like I said, I wanted to look at two guys that I have a lot of respect for. And frankly, to be honest, I've been subscribed to their channels for a long time, just to see who they're going after. Now, the thing about them, both these guys, the Shade, not to mention other skeptics, other people who report on the paranormal, but especially these two guys, I have never heard them say that they didn't like a team.
I was excited right up until I actually watched it.
Okay, well, maybe once or twice. But we're going to take a look at a couple of their videos. I think I've got one from Beardo, I've got one from Side-Eye Guy. And, I got to be very delicate about this because of the algorithm. So I got to make sure and chop these videos and try to keep them as close to that 10-second Not that I think that either one of these guys would come after me, but the algorithm, and we've all experienced that in some way, shape, or form. You know, it was just here a couple months ago on my other channel that I took a Creative Commons song that actually said free to reuse, and I put it in a video, and they copyright me on it. They labeled it free to reuse, but yet they copyright it. Kick back, grab some popcorn, get ready to laugh a little bit. These guys are hilarious, and that's why I love them so much. We'll talk more at the end, or if I can even show my face at the end, we'll talk more at the end.
Why do you go to haunted locations if you're a skeptic? Because that's where they said the ghosts were. You can't say there's a spirit at the top of the stairs and then get really mad when I go to the top of the stairs. What do you want me to do? Send a strongly worded email to the afterlife? There's this bizarre rule in the paranormal on YouTube. If I stay home and do debunkings, you haven't experienced it. But if I go there, you're copying believers or you're shitting on belief. Copying? You don't own walking. You don't own standing around talking of mould and paint. You didn't copyright night vision, and you certainly didn't patent asking a Victorian hallway if it died violently. You've not got proprietary technology, you're just standing somewhere and talking. And I can do that. People are acting like skeptics and debunkers have broke into the Fort Knox of spirits. Oh no. That debunker did the ancient ritual of... Is anyone there? Yeah, I guess I did. And guess what? Nothing happened. Again. Not a whisper, not a moan, and in most places, not even a suspicious creak, bang, or knock. Just me, standing in the dark, cold, inhaling mold spores, questioning every decision that's led me to that moment. And here's the bit that makes people's asses itch. Walking into this building and calling out produces intelligent responses. Then when I walk into a building and I call out, then... where's my responses? It should respond. I'm doing what these guys are doing. And there's a double standard about going out and doing what fake ghost hunters are doing. But these people claim they're real, so I go out and replicate what they do because I should get the same responses. That's how I debunk. And to be called out and to be questioned why I'm doing the same methods as them, it's investigating the investigations. I'm investigating the claims. I'm recreating, as closely as I can, the claims of the paranormal in specific locations. So why do the ghosts not perform for me? Are they like influencers? Are they like larger channels? Sorry. We only perform for 200,000k sub channels and above. Do I need a blue tick next to my X handle to make the ghosts come out of the afterlife? Or do I need to whisper sweet affirmations to haunted banisters? Oh, big strong entity. You're looking very poltergeisty tonight. How did you die, Ghost Daddy? What are the conditions for me to get the same responses? Because the last time I checked, spirits weren't supposed to be emotionally high maintenance. So let's talk about reality. The last investigation I went on should have been a 4.5 hour drive. The weather was terrible. It took me 6.5 hours to get there. I had to fill up my car with fuel. I had to eat. This time I didn't have to pay for the location because somebody else did and invited me along. But normally I pay for the location. And then I get the same drive home. Sometimes it's a bit shorter because it's earlier in the day. But sometimes I've driven for 12 hours, been at a location for 8 hours, all to what? Fake silence? Do I really just spend 20 hours and a fuck ton of money to fake silence? Where's the conspiracy here about debunkers? Yep, I must be playing the long game. I must be playing the really long game of I'm losing money, I'm losing sleep, I'm losing time with my family, and I'm not finding anything. It's genius. That's exactly how I take down all the fakers. I'm absolutely diabolical. I go to these places, and do you know what I get at 3 a.m? Cold, hungry, tired. Most of the time because I'm stood in a hallway that smells like mildew and broken promises from a bunch of fucking liars. I call out. Is there anyone here? Could you knock once? And I hear back. My knee's cracking. That's it. Even my own skeleton is looking at me and going off. Just go home. And here's where it gets kind of nasty. A believer goes to a building, says it's haunted. They are so brave to go in there. I go into what they've claimed to be a haunted building with a little bit of skepticism and a lot of logic. And I'm a clout chaser. Believers get a random thud. Did you hear that? I get a random thud. Could that be the plumbing? Could it be the floorboards? Could it be the house settling? That's not how it works, because when I get a thud, my audience says it's probably the plumbing. And they're allowed to do that. They should do that. But when they get a thud, it's the tortured soul of Edmund, because that's what their app said. So why does Edmund hate me specifically? Did I offend him? Do ghosts require ideological alignment to speak to me? Because the next argument is always, you weren't open enough. Open enough? 6-hour drive, food, fuel, time from my family, wear and tear on my car, and I talk to the air like everybody else does. How much more open do you want me to be? Do you want me to emotionally undress the curtains? Do you want me to light some candles and whisper to the curtain? I'm ready for you, Victorian Ghost Daddy. What are the rules? Because the rules seem to change every time I put out footage that doesn't cooperate with what other people are saying happens. And here's the twist, and this is more for the people that hate watch me. I believe there is something out there. Consciousness is weird. Reality can be really weird. Humans do experience things that they can't explain. But belief without testing is just fan fiction with EMF meters. If something is real, it should survive scrutiny. If something is real, it should perform when somebody that doesn't believe turns up. And if that dies the second that you ask a follow-up question, then it wasn't a ghost. Maybe it was the plasterboard expanding and your brain doing imagination cardio. But you know what would make me the happiest on these investigations? Not debunking claims, not going, oh, that shadow's caused by light from the outside, or there's a rat in the building. Do you know what would make me really happy? To actually capture something undeniable. Something that I could take the scientists and be like, I don't know, do you? And then they say, I think you got something there. I would like nothing more than to capture something that survives editing, something that survives analysis, something that survives debunking attempts. Because my work is open to be debunked, but it hasn't happened. And it's not because I'm switched off. It's because the truth is, walking into a building and yelling at mold doesn't magically produce spirits on command. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If I walk into a building that numerous people have gone to and numerous people have investigated and numerous people have got results, and I replicate their method and I don't get results, it raises a question. Some people don't like that question. The people that don't like that question is because they don't want to be looked at deeper. Because if something works for a team every time and then it doesn't work for me, then either the ghosts have brand loyalty to your 200k sub channel, or something else is happening. And that possibility makes people sweat. But I still love what I do. I'll still investigate. I'll still keep going to these locations and replicating what other people are doing to see if I can get a result. But if one of those ghosts that I so want to believe in and so want to see wants to pull up in the passenger seat and chip in for fuel, that'll make me very, very happy. Yes, I've made jokes. Yes, I've been very sarcastic, but when I see a podcast about double standards, it reminds me that these double standards are absolutely everywhere. And those double standards shift heavily in favour of people that prove the impossible on a weekly basis. It's more than mildly annoying to me that I spend the same money, that I drive the same or further distances, I'll keep coming away empty-handed and then get told, hey, you're boring. Do you know why I'm boring? Do you know why nothing happens in my investigations? Because I don't use broken devices and I don't lie to you for a living. Do please let me know your thoughts on the comment section down below. Much love to you all. Beardo, out.
That's Beardo. I didn't grab one of his debunking videos only because the way people have been acting towards him lately when he's debunked them, I didn't want to run the risk that since I was playing the debunking, that they would then turn around and come after us. You know, we're still small blood. We don't get donations. We don't have sponsorship. Nothing. So, I mean, I understand, you know, you can't get blood out of a turnip. But at the same time, sometimes people just like to stomp on turnips. And with the algorithm the way it is and the computer system that they use the way it is, I can't run that risk. So I grabbed a video where he talks about going out and investigating some of the same locations that some of the people he debunks go out and investigate, and how it's so easy for him to debunk it. Next up, we're going to listen and watch Seg, Side-Eye Guy. Another great dude. He's funny. That's all I can say. He is hilarious. I would like to see him and Beardo do like a collaboration live stream because that would be hilarious. Here's what Seg has to say.
Hey Segways, I want to talk to you today about a Reddit thread that I came across a little while ago, and I'll be honest with you, there was for a time I didn't want to talk about this. I was a little bit like, you know, is it really worth bringing up? Is it really worth making a kind of mount over molehill with this? And I'm running out of ideas of things to talk about, so ultimately, yeah, I'm just gonna talk about it because, you know. Welcome to YouTube! The title of this Reddit thread is called Side-Eye Guy Debunk versus Harassment, so you know it's gonna be a bit spicy.
Hey guys, quick little edit here before we get started into the meat of the video. At the time of recording, I didn't realise that Sam and Colby were going to be in a great big huge controversy with the whole paywall thing going on. I know a fair few other creators have commented on this, but if you guys could please do me a solid and go over to Fantastic Publishing's video where she covered all of this, I'd really appreciate it. I'll put the link for her video in the description. Please go watch the video, subscribe to her channel, and tell her Side-Eye Guy said hello. Anyway, back to my load of old bollocks.
Before I get stuck into what this person said about me and give my overall thoughts about it, I just want to really state very, very clearly from the get-go here, please don't give this guy any hate. Please don't harass him, like, on my behalf, because then you're kind of proving him right, I suppose. You know, I'm all for people having their say. I didn't join YouTube thinking that everyone was going to agree with me, that everyone was going to think I'm great. I'm sure a majority of people think I'm a bit of a wanker. So I'm all for this guy saying whatever he wants to say. Crack at it, mate. Go ahead. But equally, that means that I get an opportunity to respond as well, right? I think that's only fair. I would just like to do so without anyone else kind of adding any extra level of drama into this that just doesn't need to be said. I will put a link of this thread onto my description of this video, so you can by all means read all of the other comments that was responding to this guy's. It did seem like more was kind of on my side of things than not, which I very much appreciate, of course. But today I'm only going to really read and respond to the initial comment, not to all the other, you know, responses to this. Because the guy who wrote this, like, he ended up responding to other people that disagreed with him and etc, etc. So yeah, without further ado, let's read this post. Oh, and there's a little other thing that I forgot to mention, that I may well be taking my mask off at the end of this video, so stick around to the end. Watch the bloody video, don't just skip to the very end. Watch the video, and yeah, mask off for the first time ever. Also, please subscribe.
Although I actually enjoy debunking, I'm beginning to think that the Side-Eye Guy is bordering harassing and bullying.
So, pretty strong right out of the gate there. I'm being accused of harassing and bullying. I think bullying is quite a strong word. I think harassment is a very strong word that needs to really be used very, very seriously, in my opinion, of course. As you can see here from the thread, that this is part of the Sam and Colby kind of subreddit. And when I am brought up on Reddit, it's usually to do with Sam and Colby. This all first kicked off with the Bel Air House video. But this person seems to take issue in particular with what I say about Sam and Colby. And hey, I'll openly admit, I've done a fair few Sam and Colby videos of the last, I don't know, 6 months or something like that. I think maybe 4 or 5, 4 maybe in the last 6 months. You know, I can't remember off the top of my head. But, you know, some might consider that a lot. I'll be honest, guys, like, I get requests to review and debunk every one of Sam and Colby's videos. Like, I hold back for a lot of the videos I make on Sam and Colby, and they do well for my channel. People like to watch them. People seem to enjoy those videos. I personally think they're fun videos. You obviously can feel free to disagree on that, of course. But, yeah, if I really didn't care about, you know, overdoing one particular channel or over-representing one single channel that I respond to, it would be full of Sam and Colby videos. Like, every upload of Sam and Colby's I would respond to. I just think it's fair to mention that I don't do that. Anyway, carry on.
It's strange when he's breaking down a clip but then starts tearing the ghost hunter's character or even talking about personal situations, if that is even appropriate.
Personal situations, I think, is a bit unfair. I think any kind of personal situations that I bring up is because Sam and Colby make it part of their content. I don't talk about, you know, Sam and Colby's, you know, partners or love life or family members that they don't bring into their videos. I don't think I go out of my way to talk about anybody in general where it's not within the context of the content. So yeah, I don't really know what this guy is going at with that, but you know, we'll keep listening.
The situation where the homeowner sent a video of Sam, Colby and Seth acting poorly is understandable, as it's representation of them as ghost hunters.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
However, I've noticed other times of him particularly attacking Sam and Colby, also Selena, particularly Selena, to go as far as to look up court documents and barely mention the murder victim the entire time.
I think of all the things that was said in this comment, this is probably the bit that frustrated me the most. To suggest that I didn't talk about Tori Stafford at all in the video of Selena Spookaboo in the court transcript, I think is very unfair. I think I did talk about Tori Stafford. I can only assume that they have watched this video through the lens of I'm the bad guy rather than objectively watching the video, because I think most people who can watch that video objectively would agree that I do bring up Tori as much as I think is appropriate to bring up Tori. So, yeah, this person sounds like a... To me, anyway, they do just sound like a Sam and Colby and Selena Spookaboo fan. Later on in the video, they're going to say they're not, but if the glove fits, it very much sounds like just someone who is a fan of these channels and will defend what they do no matter what. As far as I'm concerned, seriously, as far as I'm concerned, I think what Selena did in that video is abhorrent. There's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me. There's a lot of people that think, oh, is that going too far? Personally, no, I do not. I think it's holding her accountable. You know, as far as I'm concerned, and many others seem to agree with me, the stories didn't match and there was just shit being made up in a YouTube video from what was said in the court transcripts. Now, you can have a go at me about that. I don't understand why you would, but you can have a go about me bringing that, or you can hold the person who seemingly made up the lies accountable. That's up to you, I suppose.
The biggest reason I say this is because I've noticed this content rubs off on other creators. I say all of this to say, at the end of the day, if it's real or not, it's about being entertaining and enjoying a pastime.
I couldn't agree more, and that's why I say things like this.
I mean, this is all clear as day entertainment, so it does make sense to rig all this up to make it look like it is actually a game, when really this video is as well structured as Mark Wahlberg's Thursday. Sam and Colby are first and foremost movie makers. Then you may well consider them paranormal investigators if you're being very kind. And that's absolutely fine. If they are movie makers who want to make scary horror content, that's great, that's fine. If anything, if they really did lean into that direction for their videos, they could be very good. But as things stand right now, as I always keep saying over and over again in my videos, they really do need to add a disclaimer that this is all for entertainment. Listen here, in all seriousness, if people like this content, then all good. Obviously, it's not for me because I've got more than 3 functioning brain cells. But if you find this stuff scary or edgy, then great. But I just hope the people who are enjoying this kind of content realise that it is entertainment. It's not real, because just look at it. Of course this isn't real paranormal.
Now, granted, that was not in a Sam and Colby video, that was on one of the Demon Files. I know I've said this before, I'm almost certain, I make a lot of videos, and, you know, my memory's not great, but I've said essentially the exact same sentiments in Sam and Colby's video before. I've said this in many other, I think I've said this in a Twin Paranormal video before, and other channels I don't like. I have said openly that this is for entertainment, or it should be stated that it's for entertainment. I'm aware it's for entertainment, but again, I'm not too sure what this guy's getting at with that.
Spreading hate because you don't think their ghost hunting is real or like them isn't okay for any reason.
So when we're saying spreading hate, hate is a very strong word, and I think a lot of people, it didn't seem to be a thing before the the internet, if you will. I'm of an age where I grew up where the internet wasn't essentially life, which, you know, for a lot of people it is. Criticism and holding people accountable for what they put on the internet shouldn't be considered bullying or harassment. I think that's a ludicrous thing to say. It certainly shouldn't be considered hate in any way. I think most people who watch my videos, I would like to think anyway, can see that I do so with a very clear, obvious, humorous approach. Like, it's obviously meant to be taken as comedy. Now, don't get me wrong, I know I can be a bit sharp, and I know I've said some things, but they are still meant to be taken as the character of the side-eye guy, if you will. You know, I do get angry and I do get wound up as the side-eye guy, but the guy behind the side-eye guy, who you might see later, isn't really that angry. I've explained this before, and it gets a bit, it kind of spoils everything I'm saying here, but I think some people need to understand this. Like, if I am getting angry in a video, I'm not actually angry, guys. Like, it's a joke, it's a character. Jesus Christ.
I don't really watch Sam and Colby like I used to, but I would never hate on them because that could be a best part of someone's day, and who am I to shit on that?
I mean, first of all, I would say anyone can shit on anything they don't like. That's, again, free speech. This is what we can all share an opinion. Jesus Christ, come on, get a grip. Secondly, I have noticed a lot when someone wants to defend a channel, they always, quite often, they do seem to say, oh, I don't watch that channel. I was like, yeah, you do. Like, I'm sorry. I hear it all the time now. Oh, I don't like Twin Paranormal, but... And then just defend Twin Paranormal and have a go at anyone who criticises Twin Paranormal. Sam and Colby, Mackie and Amanda, you name it, Selena Spooky Boo, they all kind of preface it always the same with, like, I'm not a fan of this channel, but... ... etc., etc., blah, blah, blah.
Edit. I want to clarify, I'm not saying he hasn't made good points entirely. Heck, before the Conjuring series, I was a fan.
I just want to say, I don't actually think I made any videos of Sam and Colby during their Hell Week at the Conjuring, you know, with the Cody Satori thing. I didn't cover that. Mythos Paranormal covered it extensively, Beardo covered it extensively, The Shape covered it extensively. I didn't. I don't know if this guy is actually getting me mixed up with another debunker. I'm not sure, but I've talked about it after the fact, you know, what happened with it. But at the time when that all kicked off, I didn't make any videos at all about Sam and Colby at the Conjuring House during their Hell Week series.
The reason I bring this up is because I've continually seen some of his videos appear a lot more malice than constructive.
All right, fair enough. If you want to consider, I personally consider it more of a roasting, humorous style approach. I think ultimately what I want to kind of come at with this is that I am very much punching up, especially when it comes to Sam and Colby. It's like, I get criticised if I go for a channel smaller than mine. I get criticised if I come for a channel bigger than mine. It just seems that ultimately I can't really please anyone. And again, understandable, that's the internet. You know, I didn't go on the internet thinking I was going to please everyone. But it just, like, when you start throwing things like bullying and harassment and hate into the mix over what I personally consider is ultimately a comedy roast, I just think is... Put it this way, I envy your fragile life. I envy your fragile life for you to get this triggered over this. I know I might sound like a bit of a dick when I'm saying that, but I actually do mean it. I don't know, grow a little bit of thicker skin on behalf of Sam and Colby. I haven't heard Sam and Colby come at me angry or thinking I'm bullying, harassing them in any kind of way. You know, they probably don't even know who I am or give a shit. So, I don't know, to get offended on someone else's behalf is odd to me, personally.
I believe there is definitely a reason he has been called out numerous times before for this behaviour, but others, like Jay Cart, Simply Strange, Andrew Stonerock, and others haven't.
Again, a little bit of a strange point to make. Jay Cart, Simply Strange, and Andrew Stonerock are not debunkers. They do something very different, and you know, it's great what they do on their channel. Shout out to all three of those channels: Jay Cart, Simply Strange, and Andrew Stonerock. You know, go check them out. But they don't do what I do. So, like, I don't. If you were to compare me to Beardo the Shape or Crow Judas, fair enough. But to compare me to... I just... when you do things like that, it makes me think you don't really... The person writing this comment doesn't really know what they're... With the greatest respect, they don't know what they're talking about. They really... Like, you know, to compare me to those three channels when we don't do the same content doesn't make any sense to me.
Do I think he's the worst or needs cancelled? No, not at all, but I think he's definitely moving past the point of debunking a bit and going closer towards bullying.
Oh, bullying is such a strong word, mate. It's such a strong word, but okay, fine, whatever.
Does he tell people not to comment mean things on others' pages? Yeah, sure. But he, like many others, know the implication of making back-to-back videos on one content creator and that they do get bullied. And if he or anyone who helps with editing isn't reading his comments, that furthers the problem, and I have seen some appalling comments about several creators.
I mean, I've never made back-to-back videos on anybody other than, like, a response if they've responded to me. And even that is not usually more than just two videos. Like, one, the initial video and then a response video. That's kind of it. Ultimately, when it comes down to people in my comment section, I try and police my comments as much as I can. I don't like deleting comments. There's other people, there's actually another Reddit thread on here where someone's openly accused me of deleting their comments. Like, I don't do that. I don't know if you got me confused with someone else. I don't know if YouTube is taking your comments down, but any one of my moderators will tell you, like, I openly say to my moderators, we only delete comments about anything that is hate. Anything that is, like, really quite clearly crosses a line. Criticisms towards me, yeah, crack on. I don't delete any of those. I really don't. I open transparency with all those things. We can just do that without being overtly toxic. But I think ultimately what I'm trying to say is, like, I can't control what people say in the comments. If people want to criticize the content, they can do so. Like, it's not you can't just silence people by saying everything that is criticism. You, quite often, warranted criticism, I might add, is just bullying because they're saying something about a creator that you like. This is ridiculous. Like, grow up. Not everything you like, other people are going to agree with and like too, and especially something as controversial as ghost hunting. I think a lot of the time we totally forget how controversial ghost hunting is when you claim that you are speaking to dead people. That is controversial. People are going to see that as controversial, and there's so much ghost hunting content out there. I think a lot of people who consume this content just forget how controversial this topic is. How controversial what Sam and Colby do is. People are going to have some choice words about it. Like, as long as they don't talk about their family, their personal lives, their appearance, anything like that, I'm all for it. And also, I will say, if there are some comments that have slipped through the cracks, I'm sorry. Like, between the videos, I get thousands and thousands and thousands of comments. Like, only human here, mate. If you find something that is, and I would agree with you, below the belt, it happens, I'm afraid. It will happen to anyone's channel.
I am by no means telling not to watch him or enjoy his content, but for me it's been something that I have seen and I really just can't bring myself to support any longer.
If this is going too far for you, then sure. What I find very interesting about the whole post, there's not one specific example this person wants to give where I have bullied Sam and Colby or anyone else. It's very broad. Like, there's not one thing that he quotes from me that I've said. The closest we get to is just bringing up the court transcript of Selena. And, like, if that is it, if that's the extent of why I'm a bully, then so be it, mate. I will take you being a bully on the chin because I 100% stand by everything in that video. So anyway, guys, yeah, I just read this whole thing and I thought to myself, should I make a video about this? Should I not? And I just ultimately said, yeah, sure, solid, why not? Reiterate here, please don't give this guy any hate, please. Don't, that's the last thing I need right now. After everything I just said in this video. So yeah, guys, up next will be another one of my more comedy roast videos. This is like a little bit of a break from that, I suppose. So anyway, thank you very much. Cheerio. But before we end the video, I said to you good people that I was going to remove my mask. Let's call this an early Christmas present, everyone. Oh, and all this tension bollocks.
Welcome back to the studio. It's like I was saying at the beginning, these guys have caught a lot of flack from people that they've debunked, people they've critiqued or criticized. And one of the things that I always loved about the paranormal field was the level of respect that we all shared. I've never seen these guys personally attack or talk down about an individual's personal life, about their partners, about who they are outside of their video. I've not seen them doxing anyone. As a matter of fact, on multiple occasions, these guys have been doxed. Creators are constantly talking about, well, this is fair, and this is fair, and this is fair, and this is fair, until you criticize me, then nothing's fair anymore. All's fair in love and war. It don't work that way. It's either fair or it's not fair. Plain and simple. We don't dox each other. Hell, I've doxed myself. For the longest time, I put a picture of my business card at the end of my videos. Address, phone number, the whole shebang. Why? Because I'm in this thing for the long run. And I use my videos to let people see how much on the up and up I and my team are. We would like to become nationwide. Of course, you guys know, I would love to take Paranormal Papa Investigations onto the streaming services. Actually find a channel like Travel Channel, Discovery Channel, even Netflix that will pay us to go out and travel the country to some of these great sites. And of course, you know, we've discussed these plans before. The whole overview of my show idea is not to feature big stars, to not feature these people with 1 million or 2 million or 5 million subscribers, but to feature some of these paranormal teams from YouTube, from Instagram, from TikTok, from Facebook, that are just getting started out or have been going for a while but are still kind of small. People that I really like, people that I really respect, and feature them as guest investigators. I got my start promoting videos of my investigations and documenting my investigations in video on this platform. And I want to give that same attention to other worthy teams. And if I can help them grow, that's what Para-Unity is all about. Helping each other, embracing each other, and doing for each other, supporting each other. Be you an investigator, be you a believer, a skeptic, a non-believer, a debunker, it don't matter. We're here to support each other. And I have been through this watching Beardo almost lose his livelihood, almost lose his channel, almost lose so much over his opinion and his freedom of opinion. Side-eye guy, Seg, same way. I have ultimate respect for him. He has called a lot of bullshit from people, but they're still going strong. And anytime they want to come to America or they're making a trip back to America to do investigations or to visit, they are more than welcome to come and join me and the team and come out with us. Because as Beardo said in that video that I used, nothing's worse than hearing about a place that's all hyped up and people have gone there and they've got really good interaction, and he goes there and gets nothing. We've only done maybe 2 or 3 investigations since we started documenting our videos on here where we've got close to nothing. We've still got a little bit, but for the most part, 98.999995%, we've had a good investigation with good interaction and good communication. So like I said, Para-Unity is essential because we are all supporting each other. And there is nothing more important than that support for each other. I hope you guys enjoyed this off-the-wall look at Para-Unity, and I hope you're enjoying the Paranormal 101 series that we're working on here. Of course, I invite anyone, comment, let us know what you think, let us know what you want to hear about, and we'll do our best to bring it to you. Until next week, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless you, God love you, we do. And we'll see you out there.